Well, there are two or three points. Mine aren't questions really, so much as points I wish to raise for discussion, really, for clarification.
You think it can catch the voice?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, please.
The first one is, I would like to know the stand of the Ahmediyya community, really, in relation to these major religions, particularly, of course, Christianity and Islam itself.
Yes, very good.
Because as a Christian, I have been brought up to understand that Christ, for example, is the Son of God, and the Bible states it clearly that I am the light, the way, and the truth. And you can know and can enter the kingdom of heaven unless it passes through me. But then when you stretch your mind further, you read, as far as the Islamic faith is concerned, you read that actually Christ wasn't in the first place the Son of God. He was simply an ordinary prophet of God. And
not an ordinary prophet, but an exalted prophet.
Yes, thank you very much.
Prophet.
And then, but then that Muhammad was the next prophet of God, actually, who was to succeed Christ.
I'll explain your question.
Yes.
I'll give the answer to this question. First of all, in principle and fundamentally, because once that part is solved, then perhaps the second question will become unnecessary.
Yes.
You see, what is religion itself, and how religion is revealed and why, and what is the relationship of the whole of creation to God, the Creator. And did He create human beings so that He could choose some to be made special ones for showing light, and reject others who grope their way in the darkness as best as they can? Or it should be a different type of scheme of things? So when you look at the Ahmadiyya point of view, everything falls in step, and like a jigsaw puzzle, pieces just fit together in mutual relationship, with the result that a very different concept of religion emerges from the one which has been taught to you from your childhood. Number one, we fully agree with the Christian claim that Jesus Christ was light and way, because every prophet in his time is the light and the way. You can't teach God without going through the door of a prophet, as I explained during one of his questions.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
He is the reference point.
That's right.
So every prophet has to be. Otherwise there is no significance of prophethood. Secondly, we believe, as the Holy Quran tells us, that Allah has created all human beings, and He has been sending prophets, that is light, to everyone. And deen, according to the Holy Quran, is the way. And every prophet was given a deen and a light. So according to the Holy Quran, there is no distinction in this regard. Unfortunately, people of the latter days, not latter days, but people who followed later on Jesus Christ, peace be upon Him, started emphasizing on this in a different way, giving it a different interpretation for which it was originally used. According to our theory, it does not stand in contradiction with the claims of the rest of the prophets at all. It is in complete harmony, that claim, with the claims of every prophet, or with the objectives of every prophet, we should say. Because some prophets are known to have made bigger claim than this. Because people, when they distorted their religions later on, they began to attribute things to their prophets, with the result that Krishna makes a much bigger claim. And so many other prophets who have been turned into gods themselves, not sons of God, but gods. They have made very tall claims. So you should not judge by claims, because you are so far removed in time from that prophet that it is really very difficult to visualize what actually he said and what actually he meant and what actually he did. First of all, rectify your vision. Don't look at things through a colored eyeglass. First of all, adopt a universal approach to problems. Then, through that principal approach, you can reach any corner of the earth and your decision will be as much right as it is possible for human beings to reach a right decision. So in this respect, I lay much more stress upon this fundamental question, whether Ahmadiyya philosophy is correct or any other philosophy opposed to this philosophy is correct. And for this, reference can only be given to your own conscience. You will know immediately whether you agree with me or mine and my philosophy or with some other philosophy. Then it will be easier for us to reach conclusions. So Ahmadiyya claim, which of course is based on the Holy Quran, is this: that Allah has never abandoned any people on earth. There is not a single people to whom He did not give light, for whom He did not prescribe the way. He did not abandon or desert any region of the earth. Even that is used in the Holy Quran, the word, where Allah did not send His warners to lead them to the right path. And no ummah, that is, no people in any time, were entirely abandoned by God. So if that claim is correct, we don't find this claim of the Holy Bible, New Testament, to be in contradiction with this claim at all. It fits in as a piece, not as a whole. But look at it as a whole, then the whole concept of Allah, God, and the purpose of His creation is totally falsified. A very distorted view appears before your eyes. Many questions begin to rise for which your conscience cannot give a satisfactory answer. For instance, if Jesus Christ was the light and the way, without whom God could not be reached, then what is the long age history of human beings, much larger than we observe after him, is widely open before you. And there we see the prophethood, phenomena of prophethood, or according to Hinduism, a phenomena of godhood, and according to Confucius, a phenomena of wisdom, and according to Buddha, a phenomena of perfect wisdom which you find within you. The only difference between the concept of wisdom of Buddha and Confucius is this, that Confucius it believes in an objective wisdom. The whole of his philosophy is the study and the accurate study of things and reaching the conclusions. The wisdom of Buddha, on the other hand, is a wisdom which you find sinking deep into yourself, and you don't require anything else. Just delve deep into your own nature and forget the whole universe until you have totally lost consciousness of what exists around you. So all this, what is this? It becomes meaningless if that philosophy is true. The people before become meaningless, the people existing in India and China and other places all lose their meaning, and the whole concept of God loses its meaning. So without giving reference to your own conscience. If you begin to follow the texts, you will be seeing the text through the current eye views of your predecessors, those who had their own limited visions, and they have started imposing that vision upon the Bible and upon you, with the result that the moment you see the light of day, that light begins to appear dark, which claims itself to be the light, because the act of God throws a different light, and the claim of light is completely different in color and hue, and they stand in contradiction to each other. That should not be so. So first rectify your vision of the universe and its existence and its significance, and what should be God's attitude to His people. Why should He choose only the Palestinians? And a very small lineage line of those who in history are most often found insignificant and meaningless, looking at it from the secular history. And the rest of the entire world of China, the kingdom of Empire of China and Empire of Eastern Empire of Iran, which was Faris at that time, it was called Faris. Everything becomes absolutely perplexing, and just it loses its meaning and significance altogether. So our philosophy is this, that God has always been giving light to His mankind, and that light has always been in reference to the capability of those people and the stage of their development. It has always been relative. Both the path, that is being, the way, and the light, they have never been absolute. Because despite the fact that God is absolute, the recipients have not been absolute. So those who are not absolute, they cannot conceive what is absolute, because the giver of light is far greater in grandeur and almost limitless, or almost definitely limitless. And we are, whatever our position be compared to Him, would always remain limited. It is like going to the ocean with a pail for getting water. You may carry a big pail or a small pail. Ocean would fill it to the brim anyway. So the size of the pail is going to determine how much water you get, not the size of the ocean. Not that if you go to the Atlantic Ocean, your pail will be filled half, and if you go to the Pacific, it will be filled full. Even go to the smallest of seas, it can fill the entire pace of the universe, and still it won't get exhausted. So this is the relationship between the light of God and the human beings which are recipients of that light. At every age, the measure has been different, but perfection has there been, always, without exception. Because perfection in that sense is in relation to man's maximum ability. And he has always been treated with equality with Allah, by Allah, that is, His Creator. If your capacity was big, you were given the full measure. If your capacity was small, you were given the full measure. So the equality means full measure. But the quantity would differ, of course, according to your own capacity. So this is how God has been revealing to all the people on earth at different times. This is the first phenomena that we observe. And that is light, and that is the way. Second thing which we observe is this, that the moment the light appears and the way is open, people begin to reject it, or reject them both, the light and the way. In fact, they are one and the same. Two words are used for the one single entity. That is, whatever leads to God. So people reject and become extremely cruel in their treatment of the new truth. They suppress it as best as they can, and they reject it in totality and deride and mock at it and whatever they can. The treatment is most cruel. But once they begin to accept, the pendulum goes to the other side. First of all, a total rejection. They call them subhuman. They don't accept them equal in humanity to begin with. For instance, Christ himself, peace be upon him. They said, look here, you say you are that. What we find you is quite a different thing. We find that you don't have a right to legitimacy. You are an illegitimate son to our information. So you are not even son of man. Why are you claiming to be son of God? That was the outlook of the people of his time. And once they began to believe in him, the other end of the pendulum, they said, no, he was not son of man, he was son of God himself, literally speaking. So this is the same phenomena observed everywhere in the world. Not a jot of change will be observed anywhere. The first phase of total rejection, the second phase of lifting the position and preparing oneself for rejecting the second expression of light, the second manifestation of light. Now, in this same phenomena, the seed of rejection of the coming prophet is sown. How? I'll explain. First, because you belong to Christian religion, so you will better understand the whole thing in reference to Christianity itself, obviously. Christ was rejected, as I explained, and as I have told you, he was not accepted as a human being at par with the rest of the human beings. He was said to be something below. So why should they bow their heads to something subhuman? It was a natural probability. If the claim was correct, then the course of action they took was naturally justified. Christ said, you follow me. And they said, look here, you are not even a human being, accepted by society with full legal human rights, because we see you as illegitimate. So why should we follow you? That was a very sound reason, if the first claim was correct, which was wrong, of course. Once they began to believe in him, they said, look here, still we don't believe in a human being. We have not bowed to a human being. We have bowed to something who is superhuman, who is above the status of a human being. So their pride is still not injured. They are accepted with this justification that we have not bowed to a man, we have bowed to the Son of God. So because that is imaginary, that lifting of the station from the reality, next time he cannot appear exactly in the same manner. The next time he appears, he would again appear as a man, as a humble one. So enough reasons have been collected already by the followers of Christ to reject him when he next appears. Because the concept of the first Christ has been distorted, he has been raised from his reality to a myth. So the next time when he comes as a reality, not as a myth, because prophets always come as realities, he would be rejected often. They would say, look here, we saw you, believed in you not as a man, as a son of God. And now you come as a man and tell us that you are the same thing? Go ahead. Do what you please, but we are not going to follow you. So this is the phenomena, in fact, which is common to every religion, every race, and every time. So the second question doesn't arise, I mean,